fairly easy, right? We should be comfortable with that. So the first thing we're going to do is dot your x-intercept and your y-intercepts. Now, the reason why the S is in parentheses is because you may have more than one, or you may just have one, right? So if I'm looking at this line right here, let's just follow these steps. What is my y-intercept for this linear equation, Kai? 3. Positive 3 on the y-axis. Okay? So my y-intercept, if I was going to write it as a coordinate pair, what would it look like? Alex?
0, 3.
0, 3. Right? What would my x-intercept, Chloe, be?
-2.
-2. It's where we cross the x-axis. What would my coordinate pair be for that, Chloe?
-2, 0.
Perfect. -2, comma 0, because my x-coordinate always goes first, just like in the alphabet. All right? Everybody have a ruler in your supply box as well? Go ahead and grab one of those.
I don't want to swim with you,
This one works.
Okay. We dotted our x-intercepts and our y-intercepts. Boom, boom, right there. We're going to draw a vertical line through each x-intercept. Okay, we only have one x-intercept, right? So I'm going to line it up with my ruler, and I'm going to draw a vertical line right through that x-intercept. Then I'm going to draw a horizontal line through the x-axis itself. So here's my x-axis. And I'm going to draw a horizontal line through my x-axis like that. Okay? What we've done here is we've split this graph into 4 sections. My top left section, my top right section, my bottom left section, and my bottom right section. Right? The midpoint of all 4 of those sections is what? Where do they all meet in the middle? At the x-intercept, which is at -2, right? So it's kind of like we shifted our origin to wherever our x-intercept is a way that we could think about that, okay? Everybody with me so far? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. What we're going to do now with our yellow highlighter, everyone has a yellow highlighter, so you need to use a yellow highlighter here, is we're going to highlight the section of the function above the graph. We're going to do that, like I said, in yellow. This is what we did yesterday. We covered up the bottom section. All right? Now I have 2 top sections, my top left and my top right. Where is the function at? Top left or top right?
Top right.
Top right. My function, of course, being my line, right? So this whole right side section, I'm going to highlight it in yellow. Just like that. That whole section is going to turn yellow.
There you go. You don't have to code it. Which one?
I'm going to come by and take a look, make sure we're doing the right thing. Good, good, perfect, 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 perfect. Good, good. Good. There. Are you doing it, Tyler? What's that? Okay, but what are we doing right now with the top right highlighter? Can you give Tyler a yellow highlighter, please? Here you go. So we're highlighting this top section in yellow. Yes? Good, 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 good. What color are we highlighting the top section? I thought it was cool. Is that yellow? Okay, it looks a little green. Okay, Okay, my top section, where my function's at, is yellow. I'm not going to highlight anything on this blank section. Okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight the section below the graph in another color. Whatever your second color is in your supply box that's not yellow, that's where we're going to highlight the rest of my function. So if I cover up the top, is my function present in the bottom left or the bottom right section? Bottom left. So I'm going to highlight my bottom left section in that second color. It doesn't matter what the second color is as long as it's not yellow.
The same color as X.
It can be whatever color you have. Some of you have pink, some of you have blue.
There we go.
Let's take a look around and see how this one looks. Looks good, good, good.
It looks
good.
brighter.
Green, blue,
I'm gonna put
green,
one yellow.
green.
Oh, it needs to look aesthetically pleasing.
White, that looks like a white color.
Huh?
That's fine. It's not the end of the world. Just on the next one, make sure
I
that's
don't have a singular class with it.
It's okay.
What am I talking about?
Good, 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 good. Okay. So what do we notice about the non-highlighted section of my graph? Both of them. What do they have in common?
They have nothing in them.
They have nothing in them. They have no part of our function in that section. Okay? So I'm only looking at the highlighted sections. My yellow section represents my positive interval. Okay? My other color represents my negative interval. Okay? And what we're doing is we're framing our negative and our positive intervals in terms of x. Okay? So for this whole section over here, what are my x values on this yellow section here? Alex, what are my x values?
-2
Okay.
and 0.
Okay, what else? There's a lot. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way on forever, right? Is it ever going to go below -2 for my positive section?
Nope.
No, this whole yellow block here is from -2 to infinity, right? Greater than -2. So my interval here is any x value that's greater than -2. That's how we would write that.
And then negative.
Any x coordinate greater than -2 is a positive portion of this function.
And wouldn't the negative be everything less than 3?
Yes.
Anything, well, let's see.
In
Okay?
Yeah.
Again, we're looking at the x. Hold on 1 sec. I'm going too fast.
The X.
Oh, okay.
Give me a thumbs up if you understand how we wrote that interval. Good. Perfect.
Okay, yeah, this makes way more sense.
For the negative, now I'm just looking at the pink section. Just looking at the pink section, right? My pink section starts at -2. What are my x coordinates after -2?
-3, -4, -5, -6, -7.
That's right, all the way on. -2 onward. Okay? So for my negative interval, it's any x value less than -2.
Oh.
Because
You read it?
X. Yeah.
It's in terms of x, right? We're not worrying about the y.
Oh. So it always has something to do with the x.
You got it. That's why whatever number is in our x-intercept, that's the number that's going to be in our intervals. Okay?
Yeah.
So here we only had one x-intercept. We're going to only use that -2 when we're writing our intervals. We just have to be careful which way the little thing is going, the greater than, less than sign. All right? So what these intervals state is that my function is above the x-axis after -2, right, or greater than -2, and my function is below the x-axis when we get less than -2. What this tells us then is that -2, like I said yesterday, is the turning point where our function dips. Anyone ever been to the beach before?
Yeah.
Okay, so this section of my graph is underwater, right? This section of my graph is up on the sand, okay, which means my x-axis is where the sand meets the water. Okay, it's a kind of a way for us to visualize what's going on here. Okay. Any questions about that? Are we feeling a little bit better than the way it came out yesterday?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Sometimes it just takes another day. Let's take a look at the second one. We're going to follow the same exact steps, except now I don't have a linear function, right? What type of function do I have here?
Non-linear.
It is continuous. Good. It is non-linear. Exactly. Continuous, non-linear. Definitely
If it's
both of those
discrete,
things.
It's linear.
Hmm?
If it's discrete, it's linear.
No, if it's a straight line, it's linear.
Oh.
Yeah, linear, linear. This is not a straight line. Okay, this is what's called a parabola. Remember?
Oh yeah, it is a parabola. It's a
Good.
curve.
All right, who can help me out? What is my y-intercept here for this parabola? Yeah, Aldridge. -7, 0. Flip them around. 0, -7. But yes, my y-intercept is at -7. You're right.
Why would it be 0, -7?
Because it's the parabola intercepts.
So this function intercepts the y-axis at -7. The coordinates of this point, if I'm starting in the middle, would be 0 spaces on the x, -7 spaces on the y. X, comma, y, 0, -7. Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked it. Now, how many x-intercepts do I have here?
2.
I got 2. Where's my first one?
Yeah.
Eight.
-8.
-8, 0. Not 8, 0. -8, 0. And where's my other x-intercept?
3, 0.
3, 0. Boom. 3, 0. All right? Everybody with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where it's going to get a little bit different. And this is where we got confused yesterday because it is confusing. After I dot my intercepts, what are the directions say I'm supposed to do now?
Divide your graph into sections.
No,
Good. We're going to divide our graph into sections by drawing a vertical line through each x-intercept and a horizontal line on the x-axis. So here's my x-axis. I'm going to do my line right there. Here's one x-intercept. I'm going to draw a line right there. Here's my other x-intercept. I'm going to draw a line right there. Okay, take a moment to do that real quick. How many sections in total do I have now on my graph?
6.
I've got 6 of them. Top left, top middle, top right, bottom left, bottom middle, bottom right.
Yes.
Right? Cut it into 4 sections. Again, the intersecting points of those sections are my x-intercepts. All right? That's why we're doing vertical lines at the x-intercept. Okay. Now I'm going to get to my highlighting. I'm only going to focus on the positive x values, or technically the positive y values, the positive portion of my graph. Okay. Where do we see the function on the top section of my graph? Which sections? Do I see it in the top left?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a little arrow there, or a little portion of my parabola. Do I see any of my parabola in the top middle?
No.
No. Do I see any of my parabola in the top right?
Yes.
Yes. So in yellow, what color am I highlighting in?
Yellow.
Yellow, I'm going to highlight the top left section and the top right section. But I'm never going to highlight a section without my function present. So my middle is going to stay blank, just like that. So the yellow is going to be on those top 2 sections.
So,
Make sure you make a line real quick, Anthony, at your X.
Oh.
Right, yeah. Good, good. 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 We don't want to highlight this middle section. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the bottom section of my graph. What section do I see my function in here? Is it in the bottom left section?
middle. It's middle.
No, it's in the bottom middle. It's the only section. I'm going to highlight that in my second color. I have pink. You probably have something else, maybe. when we take away our ruler, if you're using a ruler, we should see that the only highlighted portions of my graph are where the function's at. If my function's not in that section, it's not getting highlighted. My positive interval will be the sections in yellow. My negative interval will be the section, at least in my case, in pink. Well, how many sections show up in my positive intervals?
2 sections.
I have 2 separate sections. Are those sections touching?
No.
No.
So
So I'm going to write them as 2 separate intervals. Okay? Let's focus on this top left section here. Where's my x-intercept at the start of this section?
-8.
-8. All right? Are my x values in this section less than -8 or greater than -8?
Less.
Less than.
So,
So this section right here, we can write as x is less than -8.
now the other side.
With me so far? Okay. Now I'm going to look at my other yellow section. Where does this section start in terms of my x-axis?
3.
At 3. At trace. Yes, at 3. Are my x values here greater than 3 or less than 3? Greater than. I've got 3, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to say and x is greater than 3. And means we're including, not or, and, right? This section is positive and this section is positive. Question?
Can I put a comma instead?
I would write the word and. Yeah. Technically, it's not wrong if you write a comma, but I would just write in so that I know you know you're including both sections. Now, this is where it gets tricky, okay? My negative section. All right? My negative section is this block right here. Right? And because it's a contained block, it doesn't include my infinities, right? This yellow one is going to go on forever to the left. This yellow one's, or sorry, to the right. This yellow one's going to go on forever to the left. But this pink negative section is contained,
Yes.
right? If you think about like a bookshelf, right? You've got bookends on either side. What's my bookend on this side? What number? -8. So this pink section is not going to go lower than -8, right? Where is this pink section not going to go greater than?
3.
3. Okay? So my negative interval is any x coordinate between -8 and 3. So it's got to be greater than -8,
But less than 3.
but less than 3.
Oh. Put this on.
Right? If I take a random x value in here, like, let's say I'm going to take an x value right here at -3,
Yeah.
right? Is -3 greater than -8? Yeah.
Yes.
Is -3 less than +3?
Yup.
Yes. And I can do that for all these little x coordinates within that confined interval.
Yes.
They are all greater than -8. They are all less than 3.
So that would be.
And only the x values within that closed interval will be negative. Okay? So where I think it also gets confusing just conceptually, the whole positive versus negative, we're talking about the y,
Yes.
right? All of these little points, fellas in the middle, you guys listening? We're still working. All these little points down here on this section of my function have a negative y value, right? All of these little points here and all of these little points here all have a positive y value. All right?
Yes.
So the positive and negative intervals, we're talking about the y's, but we're framing it in terms of the x. That's where it gets really confusing for us, okay?
It is really.
What I said just now was confusing? Did what we do right here, was that confusing?
No, I still get it.
Perfect. Then that's, forget what I said then. All right? If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. As long as you...
What about the one with the
Like this one here. Well, it would be the same thing if I look back over here, right? This little section's positive. This infinite section is positive.
Those two at the bottom.
This infinite section is negative. This contained section is negative. We're not going to worry about those right now.
Yeah.
Are they on the worksheet?
Oh, we got
We'll worry about it on the worksheet. All right?